because you always use that attacking when defending. I think it's like.
Lee said, man, I hope you're doing well and safe. People, Deluded, I'm back again. Lee, overdue, man. I'm so happy to have you here. How you doing, man? Good
afternoon. Not too bad, my man. You okay, like you?
Yeah, man, I'm good, man. I know what happened to us against Liverpool, but other than that, I'm doing cushy, man. How's yourself? How's everything?
Yeah, other than the Liverpool game, yeah, all good. Can't complain, like now. Looking forward to the weekend. Hopefully, we'll get back on track.
Facts. And we'll get into that. I just want to say thank you very much for coming on my show. Like I said, it's been long overdue. And go on. Sorry, I cut you off.
No problems. Look, I'm glad to come on, like, and I'm always like your stuff.
And I think it's been a whirlwind of a season so far. And I just want to pick your brains because I know you've probably been on an emotional roller coaster as we all have been. First thing I want to ask, man, how have you felt about the season up until this point? Generally, like, what's all your feelings up until this point?
Mixed emotions, really. I can see where we're going. We certainly see where we're going in the right direction. Am I happy where we are at this moment in time? No. But ultimately, I think really we've got to be, I suppose, realistic where we are in terms of where other teams are and we are. And to be 3 points off the top four going into December, you can't really complain about that, like, But obviously, like, it's not really where we want to be, but you've got to be realistic, mate. And the realism is kicking in at the moment. We're not the Arsenal we used to be at this moment in time. We're not, and you can kid yourself and think that we are. And if you actually do feel that, then I think you're heading for a fall, like, and disappointment. And I think from my point of view, I felt the first couple of games, you always got that optimism that you did really well, and then we got done. But I think since the new signings have come in, I've seen certain progression that I can get behind a little bit better, like, definitely.
Before I ask you what sort of progression you've seen, you mentioned that you're not happy. Now, I think every Arsenal fan knows what you mean, but for those that are not happy, that don't kind of know, why aren't you happy, apart from the obvious?
Well, apart from it, I just feel that Arsenal should be... after all these years of being in the Emirates, we should be challenging for the title. Realistically, we're not. We know we're not. We're actually, like, been in the last two seasons 8th and 8th. So realistically, you've got to put your expectations, I suppose, dampen them a little bit and say to yourself, right, we want to get into top four this season. But then when we get to if we get to top four this season, yeah, that's a good season, but that's not it. Then you've then got to kick on again. You know what I mean? So it's just stepping stones, and I don't want us thinking like, oh, we got top four, oh, let's have a celebration, because it certainly ain't going to be for me. You know what I mean? Top four is progression to go for the bigger trophies or challenge it. Listen, I'm fed up with going to Liverpool and getting tanked there every time. Like, do you know what I mean? I'll be honest. You know what I mean? I am. I want us to. Yeah, I want us to go there and make sure that we're going to give it a good go. But at this moment in time, I'm a realist. They are a better team than us. But I want us to be competing with those sort of teams. At this moment in time, I said, listen, we've got a tough job to get into the top four. Man United are going to come back, as we all know. You've got West Ham playing really, really well. Leicester, I think, will come back into it because after a shaky start. And also you've got, Wolves have done really, really well. And of course, them from down the road, Tottenham will be in the shout as well. So it's going to be tough. But let's have it. I think we need to. I think we need to be the best of the rest. I know people are not going to like it. That means we're not competing with Chelsea, Liverpool, and Manchester City. We're not at this moment in time, but we should now be aiming for fourth. And I don't see why we shouldn't be, and that's how I feel now.
Exactly that. I mean, you know, we had a terrible start to the season. We've clawed our way back in. I mean, keep in perspective, we got smacked against Liverpool. We're still 5th. It's down to the boys what they want to do with it. For me, I'll be disappointed if we don't fall into a European place, specifically 4th. I would love 5th or 6th, or just an improvement on last year. But I don't know what to make of it. What have you made of, if there's any positives of this season so far? You mentioned the new signings. I'm pretty sure, you know, you agree Ramsdale's done a very good job getting there.
I think defensively we're better. I think there's a definite defensive shapes better. I think, you know, getting in. I think we've got good partnerships starting to develop. I think like Gabriel and White looks like a good partnership. I like the partnerships between the fullbacks and the midfield, the wider players. So I think that from that point of view, it's looking good. I think that we're definitely into games. We're looking like, say for instance, like I look at the game against Watford, even though we only won it 1-0 and it looked like being one of those games, I felt confident that it wasn't going to be. I felt we was going to get over the line, because I didn't think that we was going to concede a silly goal and, you know, get here on the counter attack. I like that part of our game. Even on Saturday at Liverpool, it wasn't great going forward, but defensively for that first half hour, 40 minutes that they scored.
There was some promise behind it, yeah.
There was some promise behind it. There wasn't. We wasn't. You know, Ramsdale made a couple of saves, but he wasn't being bombarded. There was a certain amount of structure towards that. Obviously, once the goal went in, I'll be honest. I knew that we weren't going to win it, but like, I see a slight positive from that, that we was defensively better. I know at the end of the day, the result didn't go our way, and a 4-0 sort of said, oh, we're back to where we were again. But I did see signs that it was a little bit better. Am I entirely happy with it? No, you know, I'm a little bit worried about some of the substitutions that Mikel Arteta is making.
Why is that specifically for you? Because I personally feel like that, but I feel like I'm banging a dead drum. At times I feel it's like everyone can see that a sub might need to happen, or there's a flashpoint developing and he doesn't react. Where do you stand on that?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that, you know, there's certain people jump on Mikel Arteta and criticise just for the sake of criticising. I like to give him praise when there's praise due, and criticise when there isn't. I look at the substitutions on Saturday, and let's just take them for that. Two things that I felt let Mikel down on Saturday was that we was finding it hard to get out of the press, and we continue to keep doing that. Abandon it. Go down a different route. That doesn't mean to say that you're abandoning your principles. It doesn't mean to say that you're not. Exactly that. I think you're looking to adapt, which makes it a little bit better. And I think the substitutions. You know, like I'm in the stands, and I turned around to my mate and I said, like, you watch, give it another 5 minutes. Lacazette will be off, and Odegaard will be on. Well, if I'm saying that, do you know what I mean? Come on, like, you know what I mean? What's other people thinking? You could see that Saka wasn't going to get into that game. You could see that and probably even Smith Rowe to a certain degree. We wasn't holding the ball up. There was no inventing it. Like to change it. Like for me, I would have gone, right, do you know what?
Don't have any outballs either.
Yeah. There's 20 minutes to go, 25 minutes to go. Let's see what Pepe can do up there.
Exactly what I said. I would have done him for Saka early on in the second half.
What can Martinelli do? Maybe if we can just get someone that can get the ball and directly run at people. And I think that's some of the things that we could look at and try to think. So that's where I have a little bit of a criticism with the manager for. Team selection, not really going to criticise him on that, because it was the same sort of team that I thought that we should have gone with. I would have actually, you know, it's very hard at this moment to say, right, and I know this sounds silly, but I'm thinking to go against Newcastle. If we win and Aubameyang scores a hat-trick, fantastic. He ain't playing on Thursday night, Old Trafford. I'm going different routine. I'm going to have someone that's going to hold the ball up.
Lacazette.
And for me, that is our letdown, or our weakest part of our game at the moment, is that we can't get a platform to counter-attack teams. You know, you've got to have,
isn't quite there.
Yeah, we've got to have that one that can do that, but we haven't got that. So we're struggling a little bit from that point of view. But ultimately, look, you know, we go into this game on Saturday, by the way. I know every game's important, you know, it's the old
as we always say, yeah.
But this one is because, you know, if we win this game, We're level on points with West Ham, who are in fourth at this moment in time. West Ham go to Manchester City. We would be 6 points in front of Manchester United with them going to Chelsea. And, all of a sudden, we're starting to open up a gap between a couple of our rivals. So it's very, very important. If we was not to win this game on Saturday, then I think, you can be questioning what's going on at Arsenal under the manager, because there's pressure points in all the season, as you know. But this would be one that he has to overcome. He has to get over this one. And if he doesn't, then, listen, there's people criticising because he's just lost to Liverpool. Like if you lose to Newcastle, he's going to get it tenfold. But listen, I say about the Liverpool game, I think Allegri's a great manager. Do I still think he's a great manager? They just got tanked 4-0 at Chelsea. We've got to understand at this moment in time that Chelsea, Manchester City, and Liverpool, they're not just the best in our league. They're probably the best in Europe as well. They're all dominating their European groups. And you've got to be a sound betting man to say that one of those three won't win the European Cup. So we're not only battling against three of the best teams in the league, we're battling against three teams that are the best in Europe. So we have to get it in perspective where we are. But their benchmark, the benchmark's not Manchester United, Spurs, Leicester and all that, which we've looking. That's this season. Kind of the benchmark is to get up with these teams and start competing with them, And what that's going to do is developing the youngsters we've got now, and also Mikel's got to start to become a top coach. He's had 3 years now to do that. The learning curve, when you say he's inexperienced now,
kind of runs out now. It's getting
that's run out now. That bus has gone. That train's left the station.
Mistakes, 100%.
He's got experience now, so I'm looking at it and going, right, you've had 3 years at this job. What are you going to do it now? And I still think that we need investment in the team as well. We need a massive 2 transfer windows now, and that will tell us everything we want to know about the owners. Are they prepared to spend a bit of money to get the forward and midfield player that we need to push us into that top 4? Because if we don't get them, we won't get top 4. And then go again in the summer with a couple more, because hopefully we're in the top 4 and we've got Europe. Don't forget we've got no Europe this season, so it's a little bit easier. And there are a few concerns going at that. Partey, can't stay fit. What's he going to be like when we've got European football?
Where do you stand on Partey? Because it felt like he was getting a lot of heat. I know the whole everyone got swallowed open in that game, and I think Lokonga and Partey struggled especially. Where are you at with Thomas Partey? Because on one hand, I feel we've set him up to fail, and at times I think he's been scapegoated, but at other times I feel he's needed to put in more of a shift. And I don't really understand what's going on with Arsenal's midfield, because for me, Mikel Arteta was a midfielder.
Yeah, I'm a little bit like similar to Aaron Ramsey on this one, and I don't mean it's in players, is in like Ramsey would get himself fit, and then he'd have 2 or 3 magnificent games, then get injured again, then it'd take 2 or 3 games for him to build up again, then he'd have 3 or 4 magnificent games, then he'd get injured again, and it was a frustration thing. I see that the same with Partey. Once he's fit and up and running, like he was before he was injured, he was fantastic. But then he gets injured. Now, like bringing him back on Saturday, you could see that he was nowhere near fit. So he's going to need another game after this game to get himself fit. So he'll play probably well against Man United, get injured again, and then you've got to go through that process again. He has got to get fit and stay fit. Now, what my big worry about that is that we haven't got we haven't got European football. So he should be players should be staying fit in this season. If you're struggling to stay fit this season, you've got a big problem, because you're getting more rest and more time on the training field than you're ever going to get. So it is a big worry for me, that he's always injured, that when he's fit, he's fantastic, but we're not getting him fit enough, and that's a problem, major problem.
What do you make of Granit Xhaka? Because, I mean, do you see the absence with his injury? We never advocate for anyone being injured, but we are down to our bare bones. And with every game that we lose, people say highlight Xhaka's absence. And every game we win, we don't need him. Where are you at with that? And the club's not thinking in midfield.
Listen, with Granit, I think he's exactly it. He's never going to win whether he plays or not. I think that he's in a difficult situation. I will say this about Granit Xhaka. if you go back to when he was suspended, there was all the talk whether he was to come back against Spurs. You remember, I wouldn't bring him back.
Amazing, yeah.
He'd come in that game there, and for that first 45 minutes, we was unbelievable. The football we played, and he was a part of that. And then he's been injured. So I think that, as much as I think that...
Very polarising player.
Yeah, I think if we're going to go on and win things and try and challenge for the top four, he's a squad player, not someone that you can rely on week in, week out and everything But at this moment in time, he's better than what we got. I do think that, him and Partey would probably be, if I had to force the two, they would be the two that I would go with because of the experience and all that. But listen, when we beat teams, we're not going to miss it. Listen, he might have played in that game, and I'm pretty sure he's played in a few Liverpool spankings in the past as well.
Exactly.
If he'd have played in that game, and we would have got spanked, people would say that he's not.
Can't win. What do you make of him?
I like him. I really think that he's a really good player. Listen. On Saturday, I think two reasons why it didn't really work for him. One, you have to give Liverpool praise. They pressed and made it probably more difficult than what he's ever experienced.
That's a real introduction to this country.
Yeah, but I like the way that, as a midfield player myself, that he wants the ball in dangerous areas. That's a big thing in itself, because if he loses that, he's gonna be down. So give him credit for that. But also, I think that when you've got the ball in midfield, and don't forget you're being pressed very, very quickly, you need an outlet. You need a ball that you can bring into play, like a ball into the wall, and I mean the walls up to the centre forward that holds it and then pushes yourself out. I don't think we got that. So when you're looking at something, he was looking at options, and you're thinking, well, I can't go there because there's no option there. Then you're caught in possession. Exactly. So as much as I think that I think he's going to be a good player, I do think that you still need, as a midfield player, whether you're experienced or not, options. You need options in the wide areas, and you need options up front.
Minimum of 2 options for every man in possession.
Exactly. And when you look at it, he's been picked out because he's made the mistake. Tavares has been picked out because he's made a mistake. Saka and Smith Rowe didn't do anything in that game as well, but because they didn't make mistakes, they've not been picked out as much as Tavares. But I will say this about Tavares, he kept Mo Salah very quiet in that game, as from a defensive point of view. I thought in the first half he wasn't running amok like he's run amok against us a few times. So even though there was a lot of negatives, there were some positives there, So, but for me, Tierney comes back now, and
I was about to ask you that.
Yeah, and he's got to come. But I think Tierney comes back for me because he is the number one left back, if I'll be honest. But he's got to come back and perform like he was last season, not at the beginning of this season, because he hasn't been that good. So, listen, from his point of view, he knows that if he don't really perform well,
he could be having down his neck. Yeah.
Be on the sidelines again. So I think that will bode well for us going forward as well.
So looking at Newcastle, is there any changes you make? And what have you made of the 4-4-2? Would you keep it? I mean, on one hand, I think we could change things, but it's the cliche, as you said, we went on an unbeaten run. We've lost the game. It's all doom and gloom. There's mass changes. Where are you at going into that in terms of personnel?
Listen, we've got beaten by Liverpool.
No shame in that at all.
No shame in that. So why change it? Why? We've won 8 games and we've lost 1 game. This changing now. Keep the same. Listen, I wouldn't be too disappointed if I looked at it and Tavares is still playing and Lokonga's still playing and it's the same team. I wouldn't be going on. Well, Maitland-Niles, I think, can count himself a little bit unlucky. I think that he done very, very well against Watford. He'll look at it and go, do you know what? I put in a man-of-the-match performance against Watford. I've been left out for Partey, who wasn't fit. He couldn't really do no more than do what he's done, So if Partey isn't quite 100% fit, then there's no need to rush him back, is there? So I think that's something that they probably could look to do. Yeah, but I'm of the thing of I would keep I would keep Lokonga in there. Like, just give him one more game, see what he can do against Manchester United. By the way, I maybe change that up. And bring in Maitland-Niles to play alongside Partey, because he's got that little bit more experience. You know, I don't know when Granit Xhaka is going to be available, but you know, I know he's back in training. I'm keeping that very, very quiet. But ultimately, I think if you're going to, I would go with it, because we've got to win this game, and it's an attacking lineup I think we need for Newcastle. But I would definitely change it at Old Trafford, definitely.
What are you expecting from Newcastle, if anything? Because they want 3 points as much as us. They're fighting to play in the league. They've got a new gaffer, new owners. It's a testing season for them.
They've got all of that, but they've got the same players
back as well.
They've got, but they've got the same players.
Yeah,
the same players that have got no wins at this stage of the season. And I'm sorry, if you've got no wins going into to the Emirates, there's no way you should get your first one at the Emirates. That's it for me. You know what I mean? Like, no excuses, no everything. We whatever happens, we should get the win, and we need to get the win. But I think that they'll be a little bit more adventurous than perhaps they have been. Listen, last season, I don't care what anybody says. You remember when Steve Bruce was made? Also in the FA Cup, they give us 2 difficult games to break them down.
Turn it down in the second half.
Once you break them down, that was it. But it was frustrating. So I think that we've got to get an early goal. I don't think it'd be an easy game by any stretch of the imagination, but we have got to win the game. We've got to get through it and win the game. And I'm sorry, I didn't expect us to win at Liverpool. And been criticised for saying it and whatever. I've got.
I've heard about that. Where are you at with this free hit stuff as well? I had to ask you.
Yeah,
you're going to be crucified for anything you say. I've had it as well.
No. How I see it was a free. Perhaps it was the wrong word to say. But,
I don't think so. I think it's a very emotional response to that.
But I just think that I looked at the situation. West Ham had lost. Man United had lost. We're going to Liverpool. If we won, fantastic. If we lost, it weren't the end of the world, because we'd still be in 5th place. We'd still be 3 points behind top 4.
Still have the right minus to defeat.
Yeah, and also the other side of it is, you know, those teams around us, we've gone to Manchester City now. We've gone to Liverpool away. You know what I mean? Like, so we've only really got to go to Chelsea away at those 3 elite teams at this moment in time. So I didn't think it was that much damage to us if losing the game. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I think that we in the position that we was, it meant that we was going to stay. We was all, whether we won, lost or drawn, we was going to stay 5th. It didn't matter if we won the game; we'd still be 5th. You know what I mean? Like, if we lost the game, we were still 5th. So from that point, that's how I was looking at it. It wasn't such a bad time to take on Liverpool and have a go. I thought, you know, have a go at them, but it wasn't the case to be. We didn't win, but it didn't damage us that much, you know, and that's what I meant by that. And I still stand by it. I don't think, you know, like, you know, like, if we can go on now, and I, you know, I had a joke about it earlier on today on the show, like, but if we was to go on there and win another 10 games, we would gone 20 games and 1 defeat. You know what I mean? Which is a Liverpool game. I think people would go, do you know what? We'll take that. You know
people
what I mean?
Taking 5th at this moment in time, definitely where we was at the start of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know what I mean? So, listen, we're in a situation at the moment where it baffles me. 2 things about that game is that people genuinely, like, you know, the people want to bash Arsenal and the manager and all that because we've not won at Liverpool. Like, you know, but come on, not many teams are going to go to Liverpool with. Brighton have got a result there, so why shouldn't Arsenal get a result out there? If you want to go down that road, you know what I mean, like that, you know, that happens in football every now. Why do smaller teams get results against the bigger teams? Because the attitude's not quite right. They weren't going to do that. If you look at the game against Brighton, they switched off a little bit to go 2-0 down when they went 2-0 up. They could have actually been 3-0 up at that stage, game over, and that would have been there. Brighton rode their luck a bit. Credit to them. They got back into the game. I'll tell you something now. When they went 2-0 up against us, there was no putting the foot off the gas and all that. You play football, I play football. You know at times you can put your foot off the gas and then it's hard to get it back. You know what I mean? So that was it. And the other one is, well, if it weren't for Ramsdale, we would have lost by 5 or 6 or 7. What is he there for? He's not there to let in goals. He's there to save goals. We just spent £30 million on him to do that, but we are now criticising him because he's making saves. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, every time a team comes to the Emirates and gets a result against us, their goalkeeper's man in the match because he's been busy or whatever, you know, like those sorts. I remember we've lost to other teams. Oh, why the goalkeeper's had a fantastic game. That's what happens.
It's turned into a prime Iker Casillas, you're right, yeah.
So I look at that, you know, and just say to yourself, right, that's how it is. That's how you play. Ramsdale was there to make saves. He made one outstanding save. The rest of them were routine saves as far as I was concerned. One he messed up himself when he fumbled it and then made a fantastic save afterwards. But ultimately, you know, that's what he's there to do. You know what I mean? He's not there to let in goals. So if you do get pumped 3 or 4-0, you know what I mean? It's 3 or 4-0. It's not could have been. You know what I mean? If Liverpool didn't turn up and play well, we could have beaten them. You can't go on things like that. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It's a defeat, and we have to, you know, like wipe our mouths and go again. You know, it's as simple as that. But I can tell you that now, these 3 games now, he's got to get it right and get performances. And I will be the first on him if he doesn't get it right in these games here. I don't want to go all the way up to Liverpool, travelling all the way up there, spending loads of money and getting dicked 4-0 like we have done the last few times. But I will say this. Half time and the last 2 times that I've gone up there, it's been all over. At least at this one, I thought, well, even though I didn't think we was going to, look, we were still in it.
We did all right, up until the 3-4 in the second half, which I was disappointed with.
You know, so get a little bit of perspective in it to go into it, like, you know. But listen, come Saturday, there's no excuses. That has got to be 3 points, and that's the end of it.
That's it. And what have you made of this? Because I feel Arsenal personally are in a bit of a dangerous territory because I like what Ramsdale's brought to the table. I just feel he's the man of the match too many times. Now, take nothing away from him. If he's our man of the match, we're not really shutting out games. And everybody knows we're struggling to score goals. We're still imbalanced with Aubameyang and Lacazette.
Yeah.
What do you make of this? He's saying, how do we improve our attacking stats because it's appalling? And I
can't argue that. I think change of personnel. I think that change of a little bit of style. I do think there was a little slight change of style after the Crystal Palace game. I thought, you know, Mikel was a little bit negative, but we started to go on a little bit there.
Fact.
I do think that we've got to improve, and I think that January we need to bring in personnel. We need a midfield player that can only pass the ball, but someone that can beat the press by running with the ball. Now, sometimes if they press comes into you quick and you shuffle past and then you're away and then you power away. We haven't got that. We're pass, but we need someone that can pass, and then accelerate past. You know?
Like Kovacic for Chelsea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so someone like that. Yeah, very, very good player like that can do that. You know, so that would be someone very, very hard to get out, but we need to bring in someone like that. Our midfield is weak. It's weak in an attacking point of view, and we need. I think a proper centre forward. Someone that's going to be on the end of crosses. Someone that Aubameyang's one of those players. You know, he's off the shoulder. The system doesn't suit him at this moment in time. But you know, Lacazette's come in, done well in that position there. Hasn't scored any goals. Smith Rowe is done okay on the goal front. Saka is poor when it comes to goal. If I say that Saka is anything weak about his game, or which is a harsh thing to say, it's probably his finishing. Superb on everything else. So we need to improve on that. But also we've got to be a little bit more adventurous, and that means when the ball goes up, it gets held, and that means we can get out.
A mentality thing as well for you, as much as it's personnel.
A little bit of that, yeah, because I think that, you know, I think the team's being drilled at this moment in time to defend, get in shape. And, you know, when you're being coached and when you're doing that, they're the easiest drills to do. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I've done my coaching and played as well. Like, if you want to set up a defensive block, it's easier to coach than it is an attacking block. So you just get in there, banks of 4 and banks of 5. Make sure that your distance is
your shoulders and your cushy.
Yeah. And make sure that you let them play in front of you. So realistically, you're giving away possession, but you're keeping your shape and everything like that. I think we do a lot of that. You can see us doing that. But ultimately, Arsenal, we've got to show a little bit more going forward, like, you know. And I think we have at home, if I'll be honest. I felt we've done well. 100%. Yeah, I think we've done well at Leicester. We went for it very, very early doors, but we've got to sustain, you know, get that a little bit better. And you're quite right in what you're saying. As well as defensively we are, and the shape and all that, our goalkeeper is far too busy. I said that after the Leicester game. If I said there was one criticism of the Leicester game, it's very hard to criticise after just won 2-0. But there's always times to look at, you know, it's all right when you lose a game, you can all go and all that. But when you're winning games, you still got to look at what you can improve on and whatever. And that was one thing that I looked at and I thought, like, goalkeeper is having too much to do. So we need to cut that out, but we need to be more attacking. Now, Newcastle, for instance, went very, very attacking for the first time on Saturday against Brentford, and they conceded 3 goals when they haven't really conceded too many goals. So it is about getting the balance right. And let's be honest, Mikel has not got that right yet, but I do think we need a bit of personality as well.
Fact. So where are you at for, like, are you of this, like you said, the next 3 games, would you persist with Aubameyang and Lacazette, or do you drop one out? And also wanted to ask you about a couple of more players, specifically Tomiyasu and Martin Odegaard.
Well, I would play Aubameyang on Saturday, and then I'd leave him out at Old Trafford. And I'd play Lacazette as the more attacking striker, lone striker, if you like, getting hold of the ball. I'd play Odegaard maybe off of him or someone like that, so that we can get the ball and then we can get hitting them on the counter attack. I think Man United now have got their new manager coming in.
Yeah, I see a lot of these comments. Yeah, he's the interim manager and whatnot.
Coming in, like, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, look, listen, once they sacked Ollie, it was always going to be tough. But even if Ollie was there, listen, let's make no mistakes about it. It's still going to be tough. And so I don't know how that's going to go, but like, let's worry about ourselves. But
first, what's in front of us as well.
Yeah, I'll deal with it now and see how it goes. I think we've going on to the Odegaard and Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu's done very, very well for someone that I never heard of. Has come in and done a decent job as far as I'm concerned. I like him. I'm going to say that, like, because he likes to defend. He's a proper defender. It's not one of these midfield players or wingers we're putting him back as.
Didn't quite make it, and
it's a proper defender. That's his main job, and I quite like that. Odegaard, I think, has got potential. I see Mikel trying to get him in whenever he can. Do you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't really want to put Lacazette in there, if I'll be honest.
In his heart, he doesn't. He just can't leave him out because of the form.
Yeah, and on his heart, if you sat there in private and say, "Oh, I want Odegaard because he's my man," but Lacazette has done well. But I think Odegaard. I do think Odegaard will come good for us. I think that there is a player in him, but. You know, again, he's going to be one of these players that's going to need proper players around him. And he's a proper centre forward coming in and doing a job. Now, whoever that is, I don't know. But I think if you've got a proper target man in, proper forward, I think you'll see more performances from the likes of Odegaard. Even though Smith Rowe and Saka have done really well, I think it will enhance them as well. Like, so I think it's a massive thing to do. Whether he goes for the fella at Juventus, not Juventus,
Vlahovic.
Yeah, he could go for him.
Everyone seems to be talking about him. Yeah, he's quite good.
Pretty good. 80 million, I thought I was saying. Or he goes for the loan option of Real Madrid one, Jolovic, who was at Frankfurt, who I thought was really good. Do you remember he destroyed Chelsea, didn't he? And then he's not quite worked out at Real Madrid. Someone of that ilk that can hold the ball up. And just give us a plan B, you know what I mean? Sometimes, you know, you're in that wide area, just cross it and get an head on it, like, you know, and put a bit of pressure on teams. So I think that is something to win there. But I asked this, funny enough, today about the new players. I think all the new players have done well. All the new players have come in and done well. Every one of them.
I agree with that, and then it's promise more than anything. And for me, with that window, it was nice to see. Oh, fair enough. At the start, people were saying we spent 100 million and we haven't improved. Now you can see why they were bought. Sometimes that hasn't always been the case. You've got a question. Do you think Aubameyang is done for at Arsenal?
It's a tough one, isn't it?
I'm happy it's a you question and not me, to be honest.
On current form, I would say probably yeah. I would probably say yeah. I think that he's not. He's not ticking the boxes that what we need. You know, one, he's not scoring enough goals. Two, he's hold up play and play is not good enough. So I think that maybe, you know, like you could say to yourself, right, okay, we're bringing a proper centre forward and you can play on the right or the left and you're leaving out Xhaka and Smith Rowe. So it's a difficult one, like, you know. I think that I'm going to be honest, the last two games I've been very, very disappointed with him. Very, very disappointed with him, you know. So he's there to score goals. Been missing them, and
taking them off his teammates as well. Unfortunately,
yeah. Like, you know, so that shows you desperation, doesn't it? Like, you know, jury's still out on him, if I'll be honest, but it's not looking good for him. It's not looking good.
I mean, I hope to God he comes back. It's Aubameyang, but yeah, it's a results business. We need players.
Yeah.
Where are you at with Lacazette's contract then, if anything, as well? Is there a future of Lacazette signing a deal for you? Yeah, see, that's where I'm at. I think there's too much romance behind it, as good as he's been.
No, I love it. I like, you know, listen, I love him. I think he's great, but ultimately, will he go down as a fantastic Arsenal legend? Not for me. I don't think he's done quite enough. Not quite enough goals. I love his work rate and industry. I like the role he's playing at the minute. I think he's doing okay in it. I'll be honest, but for me, should have been sold this year along with Eddie, and we should have brought in two players to fill that role. You know what I mean? So I think at the end of the day, Eddie and Lacazette probably like try and get some money for them in January, and as I say, try and get the players we need to bring in.
Where are you at with Martinelli? He seems to be a forgotten man, but I do think fans go a bit overboard with the need for him to play, but I can't understand his lack of minutes.
I think, lack of minutes is more my worry, more of a concern. A game like that on Saturday, he should be coming on, particularly when the wide players are not performing. You know, so it's okay when you can turn around and say, well, he's not getting game time, and probably himself, if he sits there and thinks, well, I can't get in at the moment because of Xhaka and Smith Rowe doing really well and the Aubameyang scoring, whatever, like. But ultimately now he can turn around and say, hold on a minute, what is going on here? I'm not getting minutes when we're getting pumped 4-0. I'm not getting minutes when we're winning. So when am I going to get minutes, you know? And I
are far too few.
Yeah, and I feel that he should be contributing, and he should be contributing in games like that, and certainly like with 20 minutes to go, if things are not happening, he should be coming on because he's got the energy levels and things like that. And I do feel that, you know, he should be getting more game time. I'm not saying he should be starting, but he should be getting more minutes than what he's getting.
I agree with that. Where are you at with Mr. Pepe? Because he seems to be a forgotten man and whatnot.
Just for me, forget about the transfer fee. Just does not do enough for the talent that he's got. I'll be honest. I think he's got fantastic talent, but he just hasn't produced. I honestly think that, you know, if I'm going to say this now, Mikel don't want him at the club, don't rate him, because if he did, he'd try and find the role for him. I think he's, to be honest, I think he's one of the best finishers in the club. I think when he goes through, I always feel confident that he's going to score goals. Give him a run up front, give him a role in that Aubameyang role. See what he can do there. He's got pace, he's got skills, can hold the ball up. Doesn't want to give him that opportunity.
Could have done it
Plays him on the right instead of giving him opportunity on the left, you know. So I feel that he's just not quite cut it for whatever reason at Arsenal. And I just can't see. I think we're cut our losses on him. I really do.
I agree with you, and I think the club need to look at their big money signings, because we spoke about Lacazette, we spoke about Pepe, mixed success, but neither have quite justified the price tag. Probably throw Xhaka and Mustafi. Well, Mustafi's a given, but throw him into that. You're getting a couple of questions, and they've said, DG and Lee, do you think we need a more attacking right back? To be honest, I think Tomiyasu has some good balls in him, but the system doesn't let him go forward a lot. What do you make of that?
That's a good call. But like ultimately, right back should be defensive as far as I'm defend. Like let other players. Like Liverpool, they're different. They go with that route in there. But I think that I'm maybe a little bit old school and all that. Like get your 4 defenders to defend, and the rest of you can attack. You know what I mean? And I would rather see Xhaka doing all that the link up sort of stuff. And going forward, than say the right back, it gives you an option. But ultimately, as I say, I think he's done well. He's defended really well, and we've been crying out for a proper defensive right back. We've got one, and now all of a sudden people want to see him go bombing on and making like that. He's not that sort of player, and I'm happy for him not to be that sort of player.
I agree with you. I'd say for me, as much as I agree with you, I'd say the one thing is it's on Arteta now, because we know when we signed him what he was about. As you said, he defends first. He's not a Japanese Dani Alves. This is where I need Arteta to show he can improve players and develop players. It's not just the bad players or the inconsistent ones. It's how can you make good players better? Yeah. That's what he needs to do. He's just about defending. He's 22, just turned 23, mind you. So he's not the finished product for as good as he looks. So that's what I want to see, because eventually teams will start to suss that out, that he's quite narrow. And you've played football, if there's a narrow right back that doesn't want to go forward, some people take that as an invitation that you're giving this sort of our side for us to attack. So these are things for Arteta to be wary of. There's another going back to Martinelli. Do you think Arteta is trying to build up Martinelli's hunger for it and will eventually let him loose? I don't know where I stand on that. I hope he gets minutes in the AFCON, but I think he's starving now. I think, he can't stay hungry. He needs something to eat now, personally.
Yeah, he certainly does. And you can't, another thing that really does frustrate me, when people turn around and say, well, you're playing against, in the League Cup, he never done himself justice or whatever like that. You can't take it on one game when you play one game and then you don't play for a month and a half, and then you're expecting them to come in and do a job. It's more difficult for forwards and attacking players to get up to the pace of games and defenders and midfielders. So I think that's a little bit harsh on him. I do, as I say, I think what he needs to be doing is getting regular minutes. Listen, like Odegaard, you know what I mean? Like after 60 minutes, he's on, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? That should be happening, because that tells me that the manager likes him and wants him in the team. So he needs to do that with Martinelli. Listen, not every game. Smith Rowe and Saka are going to be playing well every game. So you think, well, it might be Smith Rowe's not playing well this time. Right, on you come, Martinelli, or you go on the right. For me, 20 minutes, 25 minutes to go in that game on. Why he hasn't come on is a travesty as far as I'm concerned. And I'm going to be honest with you, a bit of a worry. It is a bit of a worry for me why he's not getting minutes. Forget about the starting time. But, listen, if we lose... When I see Martinelli first come at Newcastle, we come on for a cameo of 10 minutes and I like what I see. I've liked what he's seen in certain games. I don't know if you remember when Aubameyang got suspended. The 3 games that he played really, really well. And then he was dropped straight after that, So worrying times for Martinelli, you know what I mean? He's had his chance and he took his chance at times and then was axed for it. So for me, I would be worried if I was Martinelli. Yeah, I'd be very, very worried.
And for me, it's like I just have hope with the AFCON that he'll get his minutes. But it's just bewildering because, again, I don't know what Arteta is doing privately, but he just seems to big him up, say he's a great trainer. Seems to almost be annoyed at people questioning why he's not playing. And sometimes he says little things like he alluded to Tierney and someone else's partnership being better. As you said, a number of players are doing well. I just want to see the man get minutes. Or if not, I don't advocate, but go out on loan because we're stagnating. Yeah. If he's not going to make it here, make him an asset somewhere else. Make someone want to buy these players. We're meant to be self-financing and all of this sort of stuff, which I don't get. But that's where we're at with him.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. If you're not going to play him, then loan him. It's not like we've got loads of games this season as well because of over December and January, we've got lots of games coming through with the cup games as well, FA Cup. Plus, there's a backlog of games. So we're going to, this is where we're going to need a little bit more of a squad. But, you need these players fit and up and rearing to go as well, So I'm with you on this. If he's not going to play him, come the end of January, get him out on loan for 6 months.
I meant to ask you as well, what have you made of Ben White? Someone's asked you about Balogun's progression as well. But what do you make of Ben White? Because I like what I see from him. I think he's a bit more vocal than giving credit, but there is 1 or 2 concerning moments in him and we spent 50 mil.
Again, I'm not worried about the fee. You know what I mean? I think to get good players, you're going to have to pay over the odds. We paid over the odds for him, but I think he's done okay. I've liked him. You know, I think that he's getting better and better. I think that he's still young. I don't think that he was, in any different playing against Liverpool because they haven't really got a centre forward up against him. But I think that against Watford, he handled that. People turn around and say, "Yeah, it's only Watford." I've just seen them gone and smash Man United all over the place. Their front three, They didn't do that to us. You know what I mean? So. What he's done so far, I think, has been okay. I think there's much, much more to come from him. But I like him. I do like him. So I'm not going to be there to bash him, and certainly not with a transfer fee as well. I think that him and Gabriel, more importantly, are a good partnership as well as individuals. I think both have complementing each other, like their recovery runs, particularly with Gabriel. But I've been impressed with Ben White. I've been impressed.
I mean, and you said it there, like I actually like that for me with Arteta, that we actually have a clear centre-half partnership. That wasn't always clear last season. I think everyone could agree David Luiz would be in, but there was moments it was Luiz and Gabriel. Holding came in, Marie had an opportunity, and it was just unsustainable. And I think there's been a bit more clarity. As much as I like the full 11, it's a squad game, and you said it, Tavares and these people have come in and done quite well, and hopefully that continues. Before I let you get out of here, I asked some of my subscribers to give me some questions prior, and I just want to read them out to you really and truly.
Yeah, no worries.
Get your opinions. Cyrus said, why do so many almost find it funny slandering Arsenal instead of constructive criticism? Not sure where there's context around it, but that's what
the reason that because it's Arsenal. You know what I mean? Why is everybody going nuts about Ollie at the wheel at the moment? Because it's Man United. Arsenal, whether you like it or whether you don't, are one of the biggest clubs in this country. And, when Arsenal do things right, they're going to be more criticised than other teams. That's the way it is. And you know what? Great. That's because it proves you're a big club. That's it as far as I'm concerned. Listen, when we didn't win a trophy, do you remember like when before we won the FA Cup, it was consistently in the papers, consistently this, we haven't won this, we haven't won that. You don't hear it from Spurs so much. Why? Because it's Arsenal. So take it as a compliment.
You said it there. Another question, and I think this is a good one. Do you think Arteta has done well on his emphasis in terms of defence so far this season, or do you think the 4/5-0 thrashing show otherwise?
Well, as I say, I don't know where everybody stands. I'm not convinced with Mikel Arteta. I'll be honest. I don't think that he's the real deal. I really don't. But what I will say is you have to give him credit for what he's done after the Man City game with his players in there. I will say this: I like the signings that have been made under his regime, and that includes Ramsdale. People criticised it. Ben White, Partey. He's brought in some very, very good players that we've been saying and we've been needed for a very, very long while. 2 good central defenders now, a decent goalkeeper. So he's got the tools there to do a lot better than previous managers, and I include Arsene Wenger in that because Arsene Wenger didn't have the players that he's got now.
To be fair, he wanted Partey, never got him. He got Torreira.
No, Emery never got what he wanted. So I think that it's time for Mikel to deliver. I really do think this now. You know what I mean? And these 3 games will tell me everything I need to know about Mikel. If he comes through these 3 games unbeaten and say has got 7 points, I'm going to turn around and go, do you know what? That's top 4 form. But if he doesn't, we're back to square one again. And I'm sorry, then my mindset will change. It's no good going and beating on an unbeaten run of 8 games and then go and lose 4. You know what I mean? There's got to be some sort of.
Yeah, there's not really progress in that.
yeah, and I'm afraid that is it. So I'm looking at it now, and I'm actually saying to myself, right, let's see. I know you keep judging him all the time. I'll give him another 3 games, give him that, but ultimately, no, I think that he's done really well in that little period there. And listen, it's not because you praise him. There's nothing wrong with that. You can praise when praise is due, and that's what I've done. The Liverpool game, I'm going to give you a little ride on that one because it's Liverpool. But these next 3 games, I'm not. I want to see what you're about, what your team's about, your new players, what you've got going up against teams that are we are challenging with, we're in and around with, not Newcastle, obviously, but Manchester United and Everton, they're the teams that everybody's saying we're going to be competing with. Everybody brushes it aside. We've got Liverpool. These are the teams now that we've got. And in this run, we've got Manchester United,
Everton away,
West Ham, Southampton. All right, but three of the teams around us. Let's see what you can do. Let's see what you can do with these players. And I'm watching, and I will then make a judgment of what I actually think. And I'm praying that he comes through it with flying colours.
Exactly like you said there. I mean, I feel fans rush to draw conclusions, and I don't think you can. I do think it's perfect if you believe in Arteta. Equally, I think it's perfect if you don't believe, because I don't think anyone can tell you anything. I don't think he's shown either to be giving him your divine right. There's been several different moments of our form. That's where I'm kind of on the fence. When he's, as you said, started the season, he needed to keep it moving. Right now, he seems to be doing all right. So I'll leave him alone. But it's all, for me, it's just about May. I don't really care what we've done right now. It just needs to come May, and we're in for a shout. And a couple other questions. Thoughts on how the fans have reacted to Ramsdale's performance? In fact, you've kind of answered that one, because you touched on it. You've touched on the squad one. You've actually said, oh no, they've answered that. They've actually answered that. Someone said, can we actually keep our form going, considering excluding the form to Liverpool? And better question, somebody said, do you think people find excuses when trying to criticize Arsenal? It feels like we can only judge Arsenal when we win, like against Spurs and Aston Villa. It feels like people, like against Manchester City and Liverpool, brush it aside, literally. Cite the same phrase you've used. Yeah,
listen, I think that you can always criticise. There's nothing wrong with criticising, and I don't think there's any problem with that. If you spend your money, whether it be home or away, or even watching it on telly, because you're spending your money as a subscription to Sky or whatever like that, you have got an opinion. If you are not happy with it, then you can voice it. Listen, I don't like losing games of football for Arsenal. I expect Arsenal, or I have done in the past, to go and win every game. But listen, this is now. Back in the day when I was first starting following Arsenal, we was never ever in the title race, never looking like ever winning a league. You know what I mean? George Graham gave me the first top feeling that we could maybe win a league. Do you know what I mean? Because I always thought we was a cup side and top six. Things have changed, but ultimately, I think that you should be able to criticise and I think that. But what I say is a bugbear of me with Arsenal fans, because it is, I mean, if you say like you don't like Mikel Arteta, you can't praise him. Oh no, you've got to slag him off and all that.
It's agendas. That's what it is. It's just
and if you like myself, that goes on results, and like I see good things with Arteta, then I see bad things. I will criticise. If he does well, I'll say, you're a flip flop. You're this and all that. Like, no, I'm not a flip flop. I'm a fan. I'll go on results. I'm reactionary on a result. If Arsenal beat Newcastle, great. If they lose to Newcastle, I'm going to be fuming, and I will come down on it. It's a results business, And I do feel that Mikel should be accountable for being 8th and 8th. He's very, very fortunate to still be in this job. But let's get this wrong.
He should be on borrowed time, realistically.
Yeah, he's very, very fortunate to be Arsenal manager after the results of last season. As you can see, Dean Smith done a fantastic job at Aston Villa. 5 defeats, gone. Literally. Same with Ollie. Mikel had that last season and he stayed.
He survived last November. He can survive anything, is what I said at the time.
Very, very fortunate. So you eventually somewhere the accountability is going to catch up on you. And if he doesn't, and for me, as I said, we will see in these next 3 games. And the Mikel ones that don't like Mikel, if he doesn't win at Newcastle, fill your boots, because it's deserved. I think if you lose to Liverpool, I don't think it does. Juventus fans wanting Allegri out now because he's lost to Juventus lost to Chelsea 4-0? Maybe not. You know what I mean? Do I still think Allegri's a very good manager? Yes, I do. Does it really matter about because they've just lost 4-0? No. But ultimately, over the time, that's when it's As I said earlier in the show, the experience now that ship sailed with Mikel now. He's had 3 years of running this team.
Old
3
enough to
years
learn
of
from your own
experience.
mistakes.
If you're not learning from it now, you never will do. So this is what we see. Let's see what we can do on Saturday. Let's hope we get the result. Let's see what happens at Man United, and let's see what happens at Everton. And then after that, you know, if we've got one or two, if we know we've lost 2 and drawn 1 or lost all 3, then for me, that, you know, we need to change.
It's self-explanatory, and I agree. Last question, Lee, before I let you get out of here. For Lee and DG, do you think Saliba should come back, and will we play a back 3? Now, I don't know for the back 3, but I would like Saliba to come back because we're doing this young player thing. You might as well. And I mean, they've made a big song and dance about signing him, so it would be a shame to not see him play. His contract is until 2024. So I feel when you look at his, Pepe's, Saka's, and those sort of contracts, we need to know what we're doing now with those sort of things. So I'd be amazed if they don't know, or people don't kind of have an inkling what they want to do.
I'm with you. Exactly that. I think that we need him to come back. He's had a couple of loan spells. He's young, and he was bought not for the present. He was bought for the future. I think he comes back when he'd be 21, which is still a pup as far as I'm
concerned. Early 20s. He's still a kid as well. It's like, what, 21? It's a young man.
Yeah, for a defender even more. But yeah, and do you know what? It does give us the option of a back 3. Saliba, Ben White, and Gabriel will be a very, very good back 3. So young, powerful. Potential to hit the roof. So I think there is that option for us to do. But Saliba comes back next season, whatever happens, get him on a longer term deal, and I think we'll have a very, very good future for Arsenal. Yeah.
I agree with that. And I just think, you know, it's a squad game. I feel Arsenal fans, they talk about depth, and then the minute we're linked with players, they start getting scared. You can't sign Odegaard because you got Smith Rowe. Premier League games. You look at Man City, they've got 3 quality centre halves. Every now and again, it's doom and gloom for John Stones. He gets a look in. Then you've got Laporte. Then you've got Diaz. So I want a bit of that. And, you know, if we're playing a defensive partnership, as we're saying, Ben White and Gabriel looking all right, I want Saliba to rain on that parade because it means we're having better players, and Arteta's having a headache. I don't think he's having too many headaches picking his starting 11 consistently at this club. But Lee, I've appreciated you, man. Go on. Sorry, I cut you off.
No. Exactly. Just you know, like saying, underlining what you're saying there. Like, you know what I mean? That is what you want. That is what you want. You want top players in top positions, and at the end of it, like, you know, we could go to Man United and play a back 3 and play Saliba in there, like, you know what I mean, and then change it the next week to a 2. What matters, you know? So yeah, I'm all for that, like, you know, and I think that we need to improve this squad and team, you know, because we're a million miles from Liverpool and Manchester United, Manchester City, and Chelsea. So everybody says. And then people saying, "Oh, we can't bring this player and that player." Get them in, and try.
The only way to draw level.
Exactly.
It's like you said, man. I've appreciated you being here. I know you said that you're going to do your show today as well. You said it at the start. Let people know where they can find you.
Well, Lee Judge's TV. We've got Talking with Campbell tonight, but Kevin's not on. But
check out the other episodes as well as this one, folks.
Yeah, he does have. We've got Warren Barton coming on today, which would be a good one. Talking obviously like former Newcastle player, but an Arsenal fan. If people don't know that, so Lee Judge's TV. Check us out. We're on at 9:00 tonight. And
obviously, all his information will be in the description. Lee, it's been fantastic. Hopefully, we win. In fact, real last question, prediction. I'm going to go with 2-1 Arsenal against Newcastle.
I'm going 2-0. I think we'll keep a clean sheet. So I think clean sheets are important. Clean sheets are important.
We need any sort of confidence we can get going into Man United, man. It's been appreciated.
Well, we do. We need to go into Man United 3 points in front of them. Guaranteed.
Facts. Thank you very much.
6 points. No, hopefully 6 points, because hopefully they lose to Chelsea and we'll be 6 points.
Chelsea doing us a favour, supporting Chelsea for 90 minutes. I'm not sure where I stand on that.
Well, I won't be supporting them, but you know, let's hope that they do. Listen, if we could go 6 points, if we win on Saturday, whatever happens, if we win on Saturday, we're come the end of that game, we're 6 points above Man United because they haven't played. But
it's a good place to be.
Great place to be. And then if they do play, whatever happens. But we could then go to Old Trafford, and if we win there, we could actually go 9 points in front of them at this stage of the season. I'll bite your hand off for that.
That would be lovely optimism, regardless of Rangnick coming in, because I think he's going to be quite dangerous for United long term, and he'll be a good.
Yeah. So let's get the points in front of them as quickly and as quickly as we can. The more points we're in front of them going into their new regime and everything, the better we'll be.
There you had it, man. People, that's us. It's been fantastic. I'm going to let Lee get out of here. You lot stay safe. Check out his content. We're out. Peace.